This is Matt Armstrong, and he is killing it on YouTube.
Do you believe you will be the biggest automotive YouTuber in the world?
I think so, yeah, I think so.
And I believe him. He buys crashed supercars and rebuilds them step by step on YouTube, taking them from looking like this to looking like this. And along the way, he is reaching millions of viewers every single day.
There's not many automotive YouTubers which are doing 5 to 10 million views per video. There's no reason why every single video of mine can't do 6 million views.
And look, he's grown to more than 4 million combined subscribers over the last 2 years. Going from working on Audi TTs on his driveway to working on £100,000 plus cars in his dream workshop and earning more than £100,000 per month on YouTube AdSense alone. And this growth is no accident, it's down to a genius YouTube strategy that I'm going to break down in this video so you can steal elements of it for your YouTube channel and achieve way more views. And strap in, because this is going to be one of the most detailed breakdowns you've seen on YouTube, explaining exactly how he's got here and what happened at this specific moment here. Let's get into it. And this strategy comes down to a couple of core elements. And the first is that Matt is incredible at telling a story.
Yeah, it needs a story. That everything needs a story, and you need to make every video as if people who are watching haven't watched your last video.
Rather than just documenting what he's doing, Matt is using his content to tell a story in every episode, crafting his start point, weaving an incredible story throughout the video, and then choosing where he ends his videos for maximum views. And we'll start on the first bit of that, and that is Matt's hook.
And for that reason, I thought that this was a bargain. But you're about to find out why that might not necessarily be the case. I think this Wraith is almost ready for the road. But oh, how naive was I? Because this damage turns out to be way worse than I originally thought.
So to break down the start of his videos, that is Matt's hook, the 30 to 60 seconds that he uses to engage his viewer and make sure they stay right until the end of the video. And this is the highest leverage moment in any YouTube video, and Matt very much uses this, crafting his words very carefully. Watch this.
I just bought this wrecked Nissan GTR, which we think has been a victim to insurance fraud. But despite that, I think I can rebuild and fix this car within 24 hours. And this time, I mean 24 hours. I'm not going to be leaving my workshop for a full 24 hours. 9 hours left. In an attempt to rebuild a car I've never worked on before. I can see oil. I'm not going to cross this line unless I need to test drive the car. Oh no! But why? When I saw this car at the salvage auction, it looked like there was minimum damage. An easy repair. But there's one serious and expensive fault which I think is the reason this GTR ended up at the salvage yard. A transmission fault.
Transmissions.
Now through that you've seen that Matt really uses those first few sentences to lock you into the video, set up the story, and then really give you something to be curious about. If I show you the script he's used here and color code a couple of the elements, you can really see how he's putting these Lego blocks together to really make it work. So first of all, let's give you a list of things to include so you can use them in your hooks. The first point is that Matt sets up a story with each car. The car is a character. You see it develop, you see the transformation from start to finish, and you see the stakes throughout it. Now number two, Matt sets very clear expectations for what is coming in the video. And this is something loads of YouTubers miss. So that line, I'm going to rebuild this car fully in 24 hours. He's telling you what to expect. Now viewers on YouTube's platform have millions of other videos they could be watching. So here he's giving you a clear expectation of what's coming so you know why you should stay, what value you're going to get as a viewer. Now one of the core ways I see retention drop and viewers leave videos is if they don't know what's coming. You might have something incredible for them, but if they don't know it's coming, they'll leave. Number three, Matt establishes an open loop that he will close later in the video. What do I mean by that? Well, that is something curious that the audience doesn't know that they want to know. So in this intro, he's telling you a couple of things. It's been a victim to insurance fraud, and that there is this incredibly difficult, tricky, expensive, risky fault with the gearbox, and he doesn't know whether he's going to be able to fix it. Then number four, and this is core Matt Armstrong. You will see this in every single video. He explains the stakes. For him, the stakes are incredibly high. He's spent a lot of money on a car that could be complete scrap, and so there is that element of risk that he very much plays on, and it's also something that all of his viewers will relate to. We will know a car we'd want on our driveway that we can't have because the repairs are going to be too costly or it's going to be too risky. Now, number 5 is one of his secret ingredients to his content. You don't notice it, but it's incredibly powerful. Matt creates very inclusive content. All of his explanations are very simple so that anyone, even if they don't know or understand cars, can understand them.
Uprated turbochargers. Most of you will know how this works, but let me try and explain it for people that don't.
Now, rather than just hardcore car fans that have been working on their car themselves and understand it, he's opening it up to younger viewers, older viewers, people who've never been interested in cars before. It means that they can come in and they can be involved in Matt's content and understand it as he goes. This is killer. Now, core element number 2 is in how Matt formats his videos. And this is absolutely crucial to his success, and it's why people come back to his videos over and over again. Matt is formatting his videos for the payoff. And this is that core moment that the audience have come to the video to see. The first time an engine fires up, the first time Matt drives a car he's rebuilt, the full transformation from start to finish. And Matt is placing these in his video timeline for maximum retention. And to understand this impact, think of the opposite. A lot of YouTubers are formatting their time for what makes sense for them. They'll film a week in the workshop, make a recap video and upload it. Whereas Matt is choosing his start and end points very, very deliberately. So you see the most transformation and it always ends on a big high. No matter where in his series he is rebuilding a car, there is always that final payoff. The first time he sees how bad the damage is, the first time he pulls the engine out, the first time he fires the engine up, the first time he drives the car, the time it goes to the brand, the OEM, to get checked over, the time he has Richard Hammond look around his car. He's always using these payoffs and making sure you get that final payoff right near the end of the video. And that is absolutely crucial. Format your content for the payoffs. Core element number 3 is that Matt has engineered his series for consistent virality. And this is really interesting because a lot of the time series content on YouTube doesn't do well. And that is that if someone hasn't seen episode 1, they are even less likely to watch episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, and it goes on. Whereas Matt has created a series structure, a format, a recipe for every car build where he can make sure he can attract attention with every one of those videos throughout the series. And he also makes it so you don't need to have watched the previous one to understand the one you've currently clicked on. He's using incredibly curious titles paired with great thumbnails to make sure that he has that consistent attention, getting 2, 3, 4 million views a video on a whole series of episodes and bringing in those 15 million views a month. Well, there are 2 core ways he's doing this. First of all, his titles and thumbnails are standalone. They attract attention whether they're part of this series or not, and you don't need to understand the cars to understand the videos. Number 2, he uses his intros very carefully. He always sets up the story again as if you know nothing about the previous episodes. And that means you can dive straight into that episode. You don't leave and go back to episode 1, any of that stuff. You're interested straight away. And Matt's thumbnails are one of those core drivers towards his incredible success. And if you look at all the thumbnails together, you'll see there is a consistent format here. There is always Matt in the foreground with a brightly coloured t-shirt or jumper, pulling a very strong expression, whether that's positive, negative, in the middle, curious. There's always pulling an expression. Then there's big, bold, all caps, yellow text at the top, sowing a seed of curiosity. Then there's the car, and often he picks the angle that makes the car look the most damaged or the most shiny, finished, polished. He's definitely using those extremes in his thumbnails. Then for the backgrounds, he's using very strong CTR colours. He's simplifying them completely using bright green grass and bright blue sky. This has been proven to correlate with higher click-through rates through other channels. And then there's the fact that because they're so similar, he has a very strong core brand where you see a Matt Armstrong video, you know it's a Matt Armstrong video. Now, one thing I want to touch on here is that part of these thumbnails and the content itself is Matt's car selection. Having worked on car channels in the past, choosing the wrong car can be incredibly costly. If people aren't interested in it, they don't know exactly what it is, people in other regions don't understand it, any of that stuff can really impact on your videos and your whole series. Matt's doing a great job at selecting these cars that people understand, they know, they love, they're brightly coloured for thumbnails, all of that stuff. I'm sure he's thinking about all of those things when he goes to buy a crashed, wrecked supercar. Now we've spoken about those intros, the titles, the thumbnails, I want to talk about the rest of the video because Matt and his team are doing the basics incredibly well. I'll rattle through some of these. The music is always incredibly well done, and Matt edits all of his own content, so all of that credit has to go to him for that. He uses music to add to his storytelling incredibly well. Now, second of all, Matt does an amazing job at weaving in his sponsorship integrations into the content. He does this incredibly well. He'll start an ad read whilst he's doing a job. So he can go from talking about the ad read, delivering a line of it, going to doing something interesting on the car, then flicking back and forth so that there's interesting payoffs throughout the ad so you can't skip it.
We can actually check if this is a stolen part because we could car vertical check it from the VIN sticker on there, and if it comes up stolen, we've got stolen goods, and that means we'd have to report it to the police. Now, after all this, the car should look brand new, OEM, but if you don't want to end up buying a car that's had all this work done to it like this, then you can use a tool called Car Vertical. It's almost as bad as buying a car and not knowing it was crash damaged before you bought it.
That's like a car vertical check.
This is like a car vertical check.
Now this will do a couple of things and it's very, very clever. It increases his retention so you don't get a big sponsorship dip, which you normally see in a retention curve, meaning there's more watch time. YouTube knows the content is far better and will push it to more and more people. And that's where the power of increasing your retention really comes. Now, second of all, I'm sure his sponsors will be getting incredible conversion rates from him, which then means he can charge them more and he can make more money from his sponsorship deals, which I'm sure are above the £20,000 a video mark at this point. And then thirdly, it keeps his value density incredibly high, and this matters to viewers. They know that when they click on a Matt Armstrong video, there's something entertaining happening throughout the video, and that there's no fluff, there's no BS, there's no establishing shots, slow sections, any of that sort of stuff you see in traditional car media. He's delivering the value all the time. And there's one final thing I want to make sure you notice about his content. It's that Matt has a team, he has a cameraman, he's also named Matt, follows him around for a lot of it, but there are still elements where Matt is holding the camera, and that is very, very deliberate. It's to really increase that viewer engagement, making them feel connected to him and that he's delivering a story right to them. He still uses those more amateurish, shaky, handheld camera shots to make you feel more part of it, like you're in the workshop with him, rather than having a cameraman and stepping back and having everything feel a little more disconnected.
I don't normally have a cameraman. Everything's normally filmed by myself. I think that's solely because of the reason that when I'm holding the camera up by myself, I see as if this person who's watching me is there with me. Yep. Whereas when somebody's holding a camera pointing at you, it feels like you're more of a presenter, like TV. Just puts a bit more of a barrier between you and the audience, I think, anyway.
Now, there is a second element here above just making great videos, because lots of other YouTubers do that. It's Matt's overall channel strategy. It's how he's grown so rapidly and he's making so much money on YouTube. And buckle in, because I promise if you are a creator, this is going to change how you're thinking about your content. First of all, Matt is using all of his content and all of his series to establish his hero story. He's showing you where he started and where he is now. This is very, very deliberate. I'm sure it is Matt just telling a great story, but this will also be having an incredible impact on his merch sales, his conversion with fans, how much they want to meet him. Loads of that stuff will be part of them understanding and relating to Matt's story. That is incredibly valuable, not only for generating a massive audience, but also for making a load of money. There will be loads of channels that get millions and millions of views but cannot generate any purchases from their fans because they don't have that core connection that Matt has built very, very well. Now, next of all is Matt's monetization strategy, because this is where a lot of automotive channels fall down. Matt has created an incredible revenue flywheel for his channel. Now, this is one of the reasons he's been able to level up his cars over and over again, because car content is incredibly expensive to make. Now, first of all, the main channel is doing, at the moment, 15 million views per month. So that will be a hefty chunk of Google AdSense revenue from the 5-second ads you watch before a YouTube video. Then, second of all, Matt has a second channel. Now, this allows him to upload behind the scenes content, more relaxed content, but also upload a very cool new series. This is where he takes all of the intros, outros, and sponsorships out of his main channel content and puts it into one long video. Now, at the moment, we know long videos are performing incredibly well on YouTube. And that is because YouTube knows that when viewers watch for longer, they leave feeling more satisfied, they spend more time on the platform, and that is the overall goal for YouTube. And for Matt, in terms of his monetization strategy, you can put way more mid-roll ads in a longer video, and the RPM, the amount a creator makes per view, shoots up through the roof. So I'm sure in saying, even though his second channel does less views than his main channel, he is likely making way more money on his second channel because of that effect. And also, those longer videos are some of his highest performing videos across both channels, which is incredible to see. And if you're watching this as a creator, I'm sure you can take some of your content, put it into a longer format and upload it to a second channel and unlock a load more revenue with minimal extra editing time. And when you put those two channels together, with his first channel doing around 15 million views a month and his second channel doing around 10 million views per month, and then work at an average RPM for car content of around £5 per 1,000 views, that works out to around £125,000 per month on YouTube ad revenue alone. When you add in sponsorships and merch sales and all of that, you can imagine what that number might be. Now, the third element to this is how Matt sells his cars. Because he's working on cars that will be hard to sell, and often they have categorized repairs on them, selling them in a traditional way would be very tough. Matt does something that is actually very clever here. He raffles off his cars. Now, for the audience, this is a win if you're into that kind of thing, where you could spend £10 and potentially win a £100,000 car, and it enables him to create content of handing over the car and all of that sort of thing that comes with it. So really for him, it's a win-win. Then the final part of that revenue flywheel is his merch and his sponsorships. Now, I think he's doing a great job on both of these. He isn't just stamping his logo on his merch, he's putting something interesting that people can get behind. And then second of all, the sponsorships. I'm sure his conversion rates are incredible, so sponsors want to come back again and again and again. Now, I know I've been going on a minute here, but I've got two more strategies that many creators are sleeping on that Matt is using to his advantage. The first clever move is that Matt is very intentionally widening his audience. So remember what I said about making his content super inclusive? Well, this is meaning that Matt's content is getting promoted to under 13s on YouTube. YouTube considers those people as kids, and that kids category on YouTube is absolutely massive. You can ask the sidemen about that. And making this content more inclusive is opening up his total addressable market, meaning he can reach more and more people with every upload. He's raising that view ceiling every single time. So what's Matt's secret to how he created this incredible YouTube empire? Making great videos, consistently improving, and weaving together a genius full channel strategy. That's it. You should subscribe.